Hi guys, sorry about the late start, and we still don't have a proper introduction, do we, Patrick?
Oh.
We need an introduction, something maybe a little bit more glamorous than the last one, maybe, I don't know.
Well, every season should have a new one.
Upholstery related. I think I had mentioned last week, we have a love seat hopefully coming in that belonged to the Chief of Staff of Richard Nixon. Did I tell you that, Jimmy?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we don't know what type of papers we're going to find in that.
It might be the missing minutes there of the Watergate.
You never know, Jimmy. A little. Right? If I find a tape.
You know what though? We'd have to go undercover.
We would have to hide. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely hide. You know, nobody's our friend in government anymore.
Well, you know, we have fun, you know, with some of the pieces, and I think somebody once asked, don't you ever get bored? I don't think we ever get bored, do we, Jimmy?
Not here. Not when we do the show, we don't. And
that disembodied voice that you hear is Jimmy. He's here live, and he's with the studio audience that he brought along.
Last row again.
Yeah, he's got a lot of little people. Those little people that the kids use in his possession for the audience, the other audience members, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, it's good to have you at the Upholstery Show. Sometimes we get off course here, but people tell us that they enjoy when we do go off course, and sometimes we really go off course, right, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, I never do. I don't know. I try to stay to the subject matter myself. That's what I was taught in grammar school.
Someday I want Patrick to do the best of live question and answer, and wouldn't that be fun? To take the best of question and answers, Jimmy, and just put it on one show to just show, highlight it, right?
Oh God!
But
we have no takes like reruns of that sort.
Right. You know, I wanted to mention that the store in Arlington, we're really, I promise, we're going to get that stocked. Right now, it's not really stocked, and I wouldn't tell people to come down there to pick up supplies who are local. But very soon, I think we're going to have this store stocked. I haven't even told Patrick that yet, but when it does, we're going to announce that. The store's looking great. I'm not sure if Patrick posted any pictures of that, but
not yet. Only till it's done. A few.
It's really, look, Patrick's done and Michaela have done a great job down there. I can't believe what they've done.
Now, cut you off here for a second.
Yeah, sure. We have a question in the studio audience, which is fine.
Yes, sir. Are you going to be shipping out of there?
We are, Jimmy. We're going to be shipping out there, and we're still trying to get our act together with the shipping. You know, there's some complications that come up, especially with international shipping. But we're doing the best we can to get up to snuff on shipping and what that means and the costs and everything. I think the biggest obstacle we have is to get a scale. We need a scale in shop. We need to get set up as a regular shipping outfit, you know.
Oh, okay.
So once we get stocked, we'll be able to get the orders out quicker also. So we promised that to our do-it-yourselfers out there. I had a do-it-yourselfer show up at the shop Saturday, and thank you to Diana. Her name was Diana, and we were talking to Jimmy, and we were talking about Jimmy's role in the online classes and the question and answers. And, you know, we do like to have a little fun. I was telling her about the fan that showed up during the live broadcast down in Arlington, which was a Great Dane dog, but you know, Jimmy, remember the tail wagging and hitting?
The dog's still looking for me. At least I have one friend.
Hey, dogs are your best friends. So yeah, and you know, the YouTube channel continues to grow. We appreciate all the subscribers. Please subscribe if you're watching this for the first time, because that does, it's kind of like a test. You know, it gives us an idea how many people are actually watching. And there's a retention rate of 4.5 minutes the last time I looked on the YouTube, which they tell me is really good. So we hope that the people who are subscribing are a lot of the people who are watching the most, I guess. And if you're watching the YouTube channel a lot, you should subscribe. It's free. It doesn't hurt you. I don't think it comes back to haunt you in any way. Subscribing.
You don't have nightmares at night.
Right, except nightmares of Jimmy and his Great Dane dog. And you know, the Facebook forum I saw is really picking up, Jimmy. Did you see how many people are joining that?
Pam is back. She must have been taking a little bit.
And that's right. We've got some activity that we're going to talk about here. And as usual, we live question and answer. And I might continue my segment today. I might read some of the emails, no names mentioned, that I get for inquiries. And I'm either going to do that on the phone, which I can do right here. talk about and describe what people are looking for and the pricing. You have to be really quick with this, and you have to be accurate because you're going to lose money, or you're going to charge too much and people will go elsewhere. So you really have to get good at that if you guys are doing this out there for a living. So people have responded positively to that, to my hard invoices that I have. But then I'm going to today give you some of the inquiries on the email, just to give you some background and to help you guys out there with the pricing. So let's get to, I think we covered a lot. Question and answer always takes precedent, so keep that in mind. I'm going to get right into, we've had some good reaction to the womb chair that I did, and let me tell you, it was a hot day that day. Womb chairs are difficult to do. What I recommend you don't do is what I did as far as underneath me was the hose. I was tripping over it, but I was so focused on what I was doing that I just didn't want to even kick it away. I was so focused. You'll see it, and it almost looks manic, but in a way, those chairs do cause some anxiety because of the way they, when you first look at that, you just say, it's impossible to do, and then you do it. So let me read the comments that we had. Womb chair restoration, A to Z, project guide, part 2. I think, says, in which of your videos can I find the difference explained between a Pintac and a pin staple? I think that the best source there would be, let's see, that's a good question. I can tell you right now that a Pintac is any size tack that's put into the fabric, not all the way, but enough to hold the fabric in place. It's a temporary tack. You can use any size tack to do that. And the staple is, you just take your gun. I think this is more for advanced people. You turn your gun a little bit to the side and pull the trigger, and the staple doesn't go in all the way, so you can take it out. Now, the problem with that could be that sometimes the staples break, and some people might not like that. So you really have to develop a knack for pin stapling, which is, you don't want to put the staple in. You turn the head of the gun just probably, I don't know, about 30 degrees maybe, and just get the staple to hold. Maybe trying to get one prong more than the other prong in to hold. It's a little technique. That's why I think it might be more for advanced people. But for you beginners, I really would start with just pin tacking. So let's go on to the next one. Oh, and he asks another question about the womb chair. He says, thank you so much for these videos. This is really the first time I see videos of a womb chair upholstery. I've been looking for information for a long time. Now I'm really going to try it myself. The only hurdle for me will be the attachment of the foam. Is there an instructional video of this? Many greetings from Switzerland. Hello from Switzerland.
A fine country.
Reminds me of Gisela. Remember her? She was my apprentice from Switzerland. Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sweden. I get those two countries mixed up a lot. Same country, right, Jimmy? Different
yeah,
countries.
yeah.
Come on, where's your geography?
It's back in grammar school.
But anyhow, we appreciate our friends overseas for sure. So the answer to the question would be, you can actually take, I wouldn't do any more than a half-inch piece of high-density foam. Half-inch, that's it. You cannot do anything more than half-inch, but you have to scrape off everything that's on that frame if it needs it. Everything gets scraped off. And you're using a half-inch foam because it's very flexible and high density, that's the key. An inferior foam is going to rip. It's going to just rip. So the high density, you can actually take it and staple it with 1/4 inch staples with the pneumatic staple gun. Not a hand, the handgun that sometimes Jimmy uses wouldn't be good enough for this. So sometimes what the preference is to staple the foam on the top of the frame, not pull. It's easy to pull it around to the back and staple it. However, if you've seen my videos, you know that I really talk a lot about transition lines. And in that video, the womb chair, you see me and hear me talk about that. Although that chair didn't need to be stripped down, but so that's why he's asking. That's why Like is asking. But half-inch foam, that's it. And guess what? Hardly anything over that, if anything at all. I mean, you don't hear me talk a lot about not putting anything over foam, but in this case, you may not want to put any cotton or Dacron over that. Once you do your half-inch, you can get 1/4 inch foam too. The 1/4 inch foam high density will tend to rip a little bit though. So I would go to the 1/2 inch. But you're already at your profile, believe it or not, at that thickness. So it's really important on these womb chairs to keep a very low profile. You don't want to overstuff it by putting a 1-inch piece of foam in it. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is for these chairs. So I hope that answers your question. I don't have a video about a womb chair restoration of such. It's just a reupholstery. That one's a reupholstery. Number 3, quick tip: upholstery repairing coil springs from the top. This was an interesting one. You know, we're all about saving money and saving our customers money, and we moved into an area of homeowners trying to help the homeowner in the most cost-effective ways we can. And this was one of those videos. And Catherine says, great instructions. I have a channel back chair with this problem, and I want to save the fabric, which is in great shape. Thanks. So when you look at a chair like that, Jimmy, that's a channel back, which Jimmy is doing a channel back, this chair that you see here. And we're going to be talking to Jimmy in a little while. At this particular channel back's a little bit bigger than Jimmy's, but this is, if this was to be upholstered and then the fabric, that's about a $2,000 job, and she could save herself that much money. That's pretty good, right, Jimmy?
Yes, 2,000. Yeah, absolutely.
And now we have upholstering a piano bench. Catherine, she says, do you traditionally put black bottom fabric on the underside of slip seat covers like these? I was thinking of piano benches and sewing machine benches, which are sometimes lifted up. Or another suggestion. Thanks for your great instruction. Yeah, usually we do. I don't know. I can't remember if we must have done it on there, I would assume. Sometimes, though, on piano benches, the underpart is finished, a nice finished wood. So yes. Sometimes what we do is we trim it out, maybe with a gimp, a flat, trim, and keep the wood. You don't want to cover over nice finished wood.
No.
As a matter of fact, I think all piano benches are like that, aren't they? They're always finished on the other side. But keep in mind, a lot of piano benches were made not to have any upholstery on it either.
No,
so,
plain, simple bench,
yeah.
white, whatever.
I mean, you don't want to be sliding off or, too comfortable, I guess, on a padded bench.
For quite a while. You'd like to have a soft tush.
So you were out there playing Mozart's movement out there, Jimmy, on your.
Next year when I go on tour, I'll give you this. You can redo a bench for me.
And Kathy says on the repair manufactured furniture yourself, thank you, a big thank you, and she's got an exclamation point. I'll pause here to see, Patrick, is there any questions, comments that we should catch up on?
There's people checking in.
Okay.
Hi guys.
Hi everybody. News from around the world. We
Dateline, Milwaukee.
We were checked in by Switzerland. What other countries checked in? Is Ireland checking in, Patrick?
I'm not sure.
And Canada. We get calls in Australia. We get people all over the place, and we're very, very happy
Canada?
about that.
Wow.
Even Canada, Jimmy.
I have not been. I would love to go.
You would love to? You never been to Canada, Jimmy?
No, I have a co-worker who goes up to Canada probably twice a year.
Right.
Loves going to the Montreal Canadiens games.
Oh, yeah?
And I said, just let me know.
It's only 4 hours from our location here, Jimmy. That's
Really?
not a long drive at all.
I have a full tank of gas, baby.
There you go. You could get there by tonight. You could be in Montreal. You could watch the
Actually,
Canadians.
At least to the border anyway.
Well, you might get stopped, though. You are a suspicious-looking character.
Yeah, I had that shady type of look on.
Didn't you get caught at the border with coconut fibers in the real rims of the car?
Yes, they interrogated me for a few seconds.
And then they found out it was harmless.
What kind of person are you?
Well, they found out it was a harmless material, and they let you go.
They found out it was even more harmless, so they let me. They laughed and sent me on my way.
That's pitiful, getting laughed at the Border Patrol. We'll let that one go. Okay. Janine, she says a club chair, upholstering A to Z. Did you post, Patrick, when Jimmy measured the chair? Because this is
part 2 is coming up soon.
That's what she's asking, I think. We did, the first one's up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the first one, which is part 1, Janine says, this will be interesting to see what the difference. Can't wait. And do you remember, Jimmy, what you did on that chair?
With regard to the measurements?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you and I made a comparison. I was a little short here and there, but
right.
Overall, I think it was okay.
But it's a demonstration of just what the online classes have to offer, and it really, Janine, I don't think you're going to be disappointed to see the differences.
Yes.
And
that in the fact you'll see me every week, so I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, this is going to be ongoing. Now, from now, I'm going to be taking over now and doing the chair. But the measuring was a demonstration, like I measured first, then you measured, was a demonstration of just, what can be lost when I'm just doing what I'm doing now, talking to the camera and explaining upholstery or showing upholstery, opposed to teaching upholstery, which is what we do
Well, I think
online.
measurements, I mean, again, the different styles of chairs,
That's right.
ottomans, or whatever they might be. I think it's important that you do kind of stress it because people, 6 yards or 8 yards or 10 yards,
Right.
whatever it might be. And,
Right.
you want to make sure that you're not shortchanging yourself because sometimes if you find out, especially if that fabric is, I went to a fabric online and some of the fabric, they will tell you how much is left. So if you say, okay, it's 12 yards, oh, I only need 8. Well, finding out 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, oh, by the way, it's gone. So you always want to be sure with the measurements that, even to do it 3 times if you have to. I mean, different style chairs and different approaches, but I think that's important. I think that's one thing we should probably stress with regard to every project just to get it started.
So, I think, Patrick, did you get the emails? Now, thank you, Jimmy, for that. But the next question is from Randy, and Randy's a great supporter. He's an upholsterer. Randy's a good, you think he owns...
I think we should make a pilgrimage out to Randy.
A shout out to Esquire Upholstery in, I'm not sure where you are, Randy, I'm sorry. But I'm not sure, Patrick, did you get his emails?
No, you have.
I have them. I'm going to read them to you because I think that Jimmy would like them. I think he likes Jimmy. He says, sorry to hear about your dogs, both of our dogs.
Thank you.
It's such a long, wonderful life. I'm truly sorry. So he sends this, Jimmy. He says, first of all, let me just make sure. Inspiration for Jimmy. I just wanted to send a photo of the channel back that I recently finised as inspiration for Jimmy.
Oh.
I'll throw it up to the camera in a
Actually,
minute.
you know what? Send it to my. You have. Well, you can.
We'll share it to you, Jimmy. I also have a very easy way of stuffing channels using pantyhose.
Oh. Randy, baby, talk to me.
Purchasing some cheap pantyhose from the local dollar store. You've never done that, Jimmy, right?
No. I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't me. I don't know what aisle that would be on.
You wouldn't be, no, aisle 3, isn't it, Jimmy?
No, it's 7, 8, I think.
I think he says, cut the legs off, put the rolled up cotton in the pantyhose leg, tie the open and closed, insert the pantyhose covered cotton toe first into the channel and pull into position. Wow!
I'm going to hang out with him. I would love to hang out with him.
But here he's got the chair. I'll show you his channel back. Let me just bring that up to the camera. I'm not sure how's that look.
Oh, that's
Closer.
nice.
That's from Randy Esquire Upholstery. Area code 414. Where's that, Jimmy?
Yeah, what do you think? I missed the zip code? Come on, man.
It's not a zip code, it's area code.
Oh,
but
here
we
we
didn't
go.
notice that.
414? Oh, wait a minute. I'm like I can remember my name by the end of the day.
But anyhow, Randy,
you're
thank
going to
you.
send that picture to my email.
I will, Jimmy. And then he says, he also says, let me go back here. He says, oh, wait a minute, he did say something else. Actually, if you want to contact, thanks, have a productive day. He sends out this. He says, hi, Jimmy, just for Jimmy, and you're not going to believe this, Jimmy. You know, if I show you an image, I don't want you to get too excited. No, but this image is going to excite Jimmy. Look at this. Now, wait a minute. Let me show what I'm seeing here. It says, just for Jimmy, it's not coconut fiber, but it's Spanish moss. And Jimmy, this stuff is dripping of Spanish moss. Wait till you see it. Ready? Spanish moss and coconut fiber get mixed up a lot.
You're kidding?
No. And that's an amazing picture of just dripping of batting, right, Jimmy?
I saw that.
Oh, my mouth is watering already.
I think that's fantastic. You can tell Randy's a creative guy, and I don't think Randy's going to get bored doing upholstery if he's doing things like this. I think That's what you do. You keep yourself engaged, right? All right, let's move on to Richard. Richard in the Upholstery Show Live, he says, I'm new to your school and I'm working on a chair with the former cane seat. Question, I do not want to recover the whole seat with fabric. My cane opening has a beautiful wood frame that I would like to refinish. Is it possible to just pad the former cane seat using your earlier cane to pad method, staying within the cane opening and finished edges with either single or double welting? Absolutely. It's not possible though. Don't go to single welting. If you're going to do anything, go double cording or gimp, which is flat. The reason is you have to cover the staple work with at least a ½ inch of some type of trim, and the single weld isn't enough to cover the little bit you're going to go off with your stapling. There's a way of doing it, but I can't describe that. It's very difficult, and sometimes it doesn't come out great, or it doesn't hold as well. I would highly recommend gimp because it's flat, and if you sit, the double weld tends to roll a little bit or wear out quicker because it's up. This is a very flat treatment, so the gimp would be better to keep it flat. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Any questions or comments?
More people checking in.
Okay.
We got Mississippi, we got New Brunswick,
Great.
North Carolina,
Great.
Oh,
Milwaukee.
Sir,
Maybe 414. You're talking about that Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
oh,
That's where his shop is, because
I think we should go on a trip.
a road trip, Jimmy. We should
Absolutely.
get in
Should we
our.
bring the children with us? Or bring the dog?
What do I know about? We went through. Didn't we go through Milwaukee, Patrick?
Just a little bit outside of it.
Yeah, Milwaukee. We were out there.
Oh, well, you know what? We'll do like a Guy Fieri type of thing, where we're, driving around looking for upholstery shops. That probably.
You know what? If I had time, I would do things like that. I would visit the Spanish moss farm, wherever that is, or I would go to Hawaii and visit the coconut
And
grove.
just stay there.
Stay there,
I
Jimmy.
can't get off the island. Somebody's.
Oh, I see. Because you like it. I get it.
You know what? I know somebody who just came back from it. They thought it was fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Janine says from the live show, condolences on both your beautiful fur babies passing. They truly make our lives. Thanks for another great question and answer. Well, we had a sad trip today. We went and we picked up Maeve, her cremated Maeve, our little doggy. And that was very emotional too, Jimmy.
Oh.
Boy. And then Patrick and Michaela were putting together the urn with the labeling and everything else. It's nice, though. And we got 2 little paw prints, what is that? What do they use to do that, Patrick?
Clay.
Clay? That's kind of nice. She deserves at least that, So the next one is from Diane. This is from How to Upholster 1860s chair again, Pat. I was talking to somebody about thumbnails the other day, and about how thumbnails are so important on the YouTube. That draws a lot of traffic, the thumbnails. People are drawn in with the image of a good thumbnail, and that in this thumbnail, if you guys want to check it out on the YouTube, How to Upholster 1860 chair part 6. I think that was the last one, wasn't it, Patrick?
Yeah, that had to have been. That's
And that chair itself was interesting. It's from Kansas City, and it was from Kansas City when Kansas City was the gunslinging capital of the USA, right, Jimmy?
Yes.
And
Now it's famous for its football and baseball. And
yeah,
we gotta check out restaurants. That's what we need. Patrick, who's a foodie, I believe,
Yeah.
eat it all.
yeah, but he knows what to eat. Patrick's a good eater. He doesn't eat a lot of junk.
Well, we're gonna set him up. He and Michaela.
He
are
won't
gonna
have
cooking
McDonald's.
lessons in the next couple of
I just had an idea. Maybe he could have a menu with all using edible components of upholstery, Jimmy. What do you think?
You drinking? What are you drinking?
This isn't alcohol.
Pre-packs.
Well, I could see.
I thought he got a whiff of that bourbon whiskey. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, if you had to eat coconut five, I'm sure you could. I wouldn't promote that, but no?
You definitely, I know your wife cooks better than what you're saying, so I mean.
Anyhow, let's go on to the next one. This is a good comment from Diane. She goes into a lot here. She says, this is my first complete reupholstery of a complete burlap strapping, coiled, and fabric East Lake rocker. Well, that's a mouthful. Say that 10 times fast, Jimmy. I've done so many cushions and thought, how hard could it be? And then she, in capital letters, she said, hard. And then she says, when you don't know the steps taken to which piece goes on first, second, and so on. I pray I've hidden my mistakes well enough. This welting video has saved me. I am nearing the end of the piece and did not want GIMP. So the creating of double welt let me breathe a bit easier. I've made plenty of single, but this again is my first for me. I can't tell you how happy I was to find you to instruct me and to put it on. Much appreciated, Diane. You're very welcome, Diane. I think that's fantastic. When we hear things like that, it makes it all worthwhile, right, Jimmy?
Yes, I do. I do believe
See the difference you're making in people's lives, Jimmy? And they come and they see you, and you're building this.
they changed the channel.
You're building this huge fan base. We're getting this mail comes in all the time. Bag full of mail. What are we going to do with it all, Jimmy?
Oh, you got to read it to me at night.
I don't like the night part.
That's kind of disturbing. Time to move on.
You can do that in broad daylight too.
Or don't do it at all. Say what's the,
You know, a nice story before I go to bed.
Yeah.
People, oh yeah. Okay.
Once upon a
two
time.
grown men reading bedtime stories to each other.
It's almost heartwarming, kind of like a Hallmark moment.
Once upon a time, there was a fan, a four-legged fan for Jimmy. No.
Where's my button?
Your button?
My bell.
Oh yeah, you know what, Patrick? When you were away, you talk about going out.
I was broken.
Boy, you talk about drifting. We were drifted so far off course there. We ended up in somewhere.
We should have, we changed subjects like I did 3 times.
But somebody said they liked the drifting.
Well, everybody wants to know the how-tos.
How to, right. Get back to business, Jimmy. Stop drifting, right? That's what Patrick
Oh,
should
that
be
was
saying.
funny.
All right. So now we're off to the Facebook, which we thank Jimmy for being an administrator. Pam is also an administrator, isn't she, Patrick?
She left a good submission.
Right.
Spring.
And Jimmy, have you been keeping up on top of those?
It has been quiet the last couple of weeks, though. It's starting to pick up again.
Yeah, I noticed
I think
that.
people getting back into the projects. And, they take the summer off. They do their thing.
I think I'm gonna read Brad's first. He just posted
Oh yeah,
this
this
to
is
me.
the one that I was telling Jimmy
Okay,
about.
Jimmy, you hold on to your seat, Jimmy, because we got something for you. I think Brad is definitely a fan of yours. He says, I'd like to share this. Just when you think you have seen it all, in walks Jimmy. No. This comes in from an upholsterer friend of mine. He wants the frame restored, and after stripping it down, I know why. 3 layers, 2 sets of webbing, and 4 million tacks. No staples, thank God. Oh, here is some coconut fiber for Jimmy. Is that up, Patrick?
Yeah, show him the picture.
You have it up though, right?
Yeah, I got it.
I'll watch it later.
Oh, Jimmy, do you want to see the picture?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd
you
love
can.
to.
You know what? I'm going to give it
I
to
actually
Jimmy.
thought it was like
You're gonna
a
give
Jimmy.
it away?
This is the raise we were promising. This is
The
so
raise?
you get this.
You mean the quarterly
we-
stock report?
We don't have the picture frame for it, but that's okay.
Oh my
I
God!
know, the lot.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
You know, when I saw that
Somebody
chair,
beat that chair.
yeah.
But you know what? I love the quality of the workmanship here, with regard to the style of the chair. That's nice.
That chair looks like if it only could talk. I bet that what you're looking at, that coconut fiber is the original to that chair.
Brad-
Oh, it has to be.
Brad's in the
Oh.
chat, so maybe he can.
So, Brad, how old do you think that chair is? If you can answer that question. I'm going to guess 1882. We don't often know the exact date, but there was one piece that we did, Patrick, that was really
Who
interesting.
knows?
Sometimes you get the exact date and location. Didn't we have a piece, Patrick, that was done in Gettysburg around the time of the Civil War? It was like 1862.
I don't know. I forget.
No,
I don't
we-
remember that.
it's up
Oh
there.
no, was that one where you were holding the?
Remember the?
Yeah, the Civil War outfit.
You had me with the
Yeah.
Union cap on.
Yeah, I remember that.
Patrick likes to pick the winning side. But anyhow,
I hope so.
it's very rare that if Brad knows the date on that, that would be interesting. It's very rare that you know the exact date. Some of the fancier companies like the not East Lake, but Stickley, sometimes you can really track a Stickley almost to the year. But that's very rare in upholstered furniture. So here we go with the last question on Facebook forum from Pam. She says, before I read this, Diana came in, who was a local person, a fan of the YouTube. When she came in Saturday, we were talking about all the things that her. Oftentimes, when people are picking this up as a hobby, they might not have the money to start a shop or for the big supplies. But I was recommending to her take advantage. She didn't know about all the things that we have. She knew about the YouTube, because that's how she found me. She didn't know about the Facebook, Patrick, and she didn't know about the online classes, which I still think are a great value, don't you?
Of course.
And I think people should check that out if you haven't already. You could get that on Upholstery on Broadway, right, Patrick?
Yeah, Upholstery on Broadway.
And actually, when you go on Upholstery on Broadway, you can check out our website and feel free to take a look at that. If you're starting an upholstery business, you're going to get some good ideas, and they're mostly Patrick's and Michaela's. They've done an unbelievable job at categorizing things and putting them. I get comments on that YouTube, on that website all the time from people, and these are people in IT, Patrick. I don't tell them half the time some of the comments that I'm getting. There's so many of them. People love it, and they find us, and they use us because of the website. It's easy. I hear that it's easy to use. It's presented well. It's honest. It's the digital, or what do they call it? The visuals on it are fantastic. And I'm just lucky to have Patrick and Michaela. What can I say? If I didn't have them, nobody would probably ever hear about me. I would be like my mentors who taught me how to upholster, and maybe a handful of people over the course of a 60-year career, and they're all gone. But look at what we're doing now with the reach that we have, and I give Patrick and Michaela all the credit for that reach. Of course, I have the skill and everything, but it's them. It's how they translate, edit that skill. That's remarkable. You really need to realize just how difficult this is. The camera angles, the editing, the long hours. They're just at task. They're unbelievably. I give them all the credit in the world for what they've done. So the ease in which you watch the YouTube channel and the online classes, it comes with a real price behind that camera. I don't know if you've never done it before. A lot of people don't understand that, but there's a lot of work. So let's get to Pam, and if there's any questions, Patrick, yet? Comments? Did Brad answer? Maybe
Yeah, he's thinking late 1800s. It also has some cotton and wood wool.
Cool. So Pam says, I've never seen springs. Do you have this up, Patrick?
Yep, it's been up.
I've never seen springs like this. Can I keep them, and how do I build upon them? I had burlap on top when I got them. I think what she knows that these are zigzag springs, but what she's probably referring to those little mini springs. They call them something, but I can't remember the name. It starts with an H. Actually, if Randy is watching, he probably can help me with that, because I bet he knows. It's been so. I've not seen a seat like this in a while myself, but I think what Pam is noticing is that they're dug into the wood, which Pam, she's asking, should I, yeah, you can put new burlap on it and just hope for the best that the springs last. But I've seen, if you look at the front of these three springs that I see here, what I see a lot of times is them breaking right at that wood rail in the back there. That's where usually they wear, and then they break from there. And if all it takes is for one to break, and that's it. The whole seat's gone. That's the bad thing about zigzag springs. Once one breaks anywhere, the whole seat's caved in. I probably wouldn't reuse them. I would take them out. Be careful taking those out. They're put on there with tension. Just make sure that you take an approach there, a careful approach if you're going to remove them. You certainly can reuse them. But I would probably take them out. So that's the question. So let's get to. I think I got an image here. Is that for me, Patrick?
Yeah, that's something else.
Oh, that's something else.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna, as promised, I want to try to read some of the correspondence I get. With our huge reach that we have, we do get some interesting comments and some reach. Let's just read a couple. Let's see. Actually, this is a good example of customer service. So I'm going to read through some of this. So the customer contacts me, and we have a really good, it's called Jot form, and people, they give their name, their email, the phone number, description, and they can upload images within this Jot form. And this is Patrick and Michaela again, they're doing. So she writes, this customer writes, I have a sofa 80 inches by 35 inches with 2 cushions, with 2 cylindrical pillows, needs to be reupholstered but in good condition, otherwise pinches attached. And she says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6, at least 6 images. And let me see if I can get an image up, but it doesn't matter if I can, because what I'm trying to do is show you I'm more showing you what the response is. So I want to see how I'm going to embarrass myself if I'm late with this. Same day I reply. Same day. And this is going back, I just noticed in 2018. So this has been an ongoing project. Actually, this might be the first project I did for her. But I responded the same day. And right to the point, hi, 1350 plus 16 yards of fabric. That's it, thank you. And then she says, thank you. And then she says, I received, so that was all in August 30th. And then she follows up again. She wasn't ready at that point, and then we start the conversation again. And we have all the information. This is a nice thing about technology. I have all the information here that I quoted and everything, and then we go from there. So that was one example. I hope this is helping. I hope this helps people. I know people are familiar with this. And then this is an interesting one. I was just wondering if you would take on a project like this vintage chair. So let me get a picture up of this vintage chair. The vintage chair. Okay, so recently, very recently, you guys, look at the seat on that. The seat on that is all ripped up, and that's a faux leather. That's not real leather. This is a problem I've been seeing lately, and I'll tell you what the problem is. This is why I'm glad I'm showing this, because it reminds me that I can bring it up in the question and answer. We have been seeing, because of the pandemic, manufactured furniture, and I figured this out, they design it purposely to fail between, I would say, 6 to 10 years after it leaves the showroom. That's pitiful when you think about it. So either they want the fabric to fail, but this is after normal seating. This is 6 to 10 years in normal times with normal seating, right? Mm-hmm. So the average person, they're working, even a family's working hard. They're not getting home until late. They sit on the sofa for 5 minutes and they go to bed, right? So this is what the manufacturers are counting on. They kind of estimate how many times you sit on a sofa before it either collapses or the fabric fails. Well, guess what? Do you ever hear the expression, getting your hand caught in a cookie jar, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, at least once in a while.
They got their hand caught in the cookie jar because during the pandemic, people spent much time, many hours on their sofas at home, working from home. Kids are at home, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're getting 10 years of seating in 1 year.
Yes.
And guess what? 1 year later, the manufactured furniture is falling apart, and people are really mad. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, they spent some good money. I mean,
but it's done. I hate to be cynical, but I think, and I hate to think this, it's done on purpose, and it goes so against what upholsterers do.
They don't want you to have that couch or that love.
They want you to buy another one quickly, but they don't want it. They don't want it that quick, because then they got another problem on the other end. It's customer service and quality and then
Right,
bad
so
reviews.
They make it just enough outside the range.
Exactly. So they got caught, I think, big time. So it kind of to go along with that, faux leathers, real leather, and vinyls. The industry here is, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not using it anymore. I've made a determination not to use it. I haven't replied to this person yet to tell them that I'll do the chair, but I'll do it in fabric. And I don't recommend a manufacturer's idea of putting pleats and buttons on seats, because that will wear it through even faster. So I'll make my own suggestions. So getting to what an upholsterer is doing, what you've seen featured on the YouTube channel and what we talk about a lot, upholsterers want their work to last 50 years. they want the labor to last 50 years at least. That's our goal, mainly, you know, and I've seen,
Different style completely.
yeah, you know, we came across my mentors when I first started in the 70s, early 70s, and just last year, I think, or the year before, we have a video up of this. It's an antique sofa. And so that's 70, that's 30, and this 20, that's 50 years. It was ready to be upholstered again, and my mentor did it, and I knew he did it because I recognized when I took it apart his handwriting on the back side of the fabric.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah, so I really thought that was great. That was cool. So 50 years later, I'm upholstering my mentor's, you know, what he had upholstered, right?
That's a touch.
Yeah.
It is.
So I didn't get to, Jimmy, I only got to a couple of these. And I think this brings up really good, you know, upholstery topics, you know, so we're going to continue to do this. But I want to bring you up because you've got a lot to talk about too, right?
Like what?
Well, this chair that you're working on. So come on up. Come on up, Jimmy. Just everybody, can you move away for Jimmy to make room down there?
There's a lot of obstacles to get through.
Well, there's a lot of people.
Big
He has
crowd.
to go around.
Yeah,
big
yeah,
crowd.
that's under a round of applause as I come down.
You didn't have to push that old lady over or that clown either. We have a clown in the audience. Hello, clown.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about me for, oh, that's right, I'm here.
Oh, wait a minute, he's here. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
Oh,
yeah.
you
I gave you the line.
You
All
asked
right.
for it.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Michelle said I saw a brown fall on the couch fixed with Flex Seal. You know that stuff?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Not
Duct
good.
tape and Flex Seal, there you go.
There you go.
You
Well,
get
you know, we
It
can't.
sounds comfortable to sit
Two
on.
household items you need now in your house.
But you know, duct tape did save Apollo 13, Jimmy.
Yes, I saw the movie.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So we're not going to use any duct tape on this chair that you're doing.
Well,
right?
we could see how well it probably holds and
What's
see.
he's laughing at over there?
Heather's obviously looking at
That's not
something.
even to come up. All 13.
The things that come up here, Jimmy, we're talking upholstery.
We're trying to get serious, and your son decides to go off on his own
That's
again.
my
I mean,
fault.
I don't know what you do. I don't know how you raised him. I mean, I know your wife did her best, but you, I'm not so
Actually,
sure
yeah.
about.
Well, he's just laughing at the Apollo 13, Joe. How did we get from upholstery to Apollo 13?
Well, we went through duct tape and Flex Seal. He brought up the Flex Seal. Good God, this kid. We definitely know if he takes over. Oh my God.
We'll talk about drifting.
Well, Brad says you're so right. Almost every piece of furniture in my house is from the 1850s to the 1920s.
See? There you
Wow,
go.
that is. I'd love to see them. I really would because,
Yeah.
well, we did the settee. You know, that's a little bit older. My, was it one of the chairs that I did was at least 90 years old.
Yeah, you've done some good antique pieces.
I love it. I mean, I think that's a solid structure. I believe it's a solid frame.
Yeah,
And when we bring in my other half later on in the year,
yeah.
she has something a little. It's a wingback chair, but it's an oak frame.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of oak frames, I think I mentioned this, the San Francisco sofa that we have, that's solid oak, Jimmy.
No way.
And it survived the San Francisco earthquake.
Wow.
Now here, how about this for serendipity or coincidence? So I had a couple come in,
Mm-hmm.
and they're talking about this sofa from San Francisco that survived the earthquake. That's
Okay.
we talked about this, but not sure if I talked about this part. So a couple of minutes later, 5 minutes later, they leave. This couple at the San Francisco Earth, they leave. Another couple comes in with the Queen Anne chair from guess where?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. But then I was telling them about this other couple that would, hey, you just missed another couple with a sofa from San Francisco earthquake. And they said, wow, we have a butter dish that survived the San Francisco earthquake.
Well, I don't
What
know
are the
if that
chances
has,
of that, Jimmy?
well, yeah, the butter dish. I mean,
She said you could see it where it's all curled up where they had a huge fire after the earthquake,
Yes.
which was more devastating, I think, than the earthquake.
yeah, we've gone through a lot. Yeah,
We
San
have.
Francisco. I have never been out there. I would love to go
Right.
to see what it's all about.
Right. Well, it's not your fault that you haven't been there. Get it? Fault?
Yeah, you get it.
Okay.
Earthquake fault.
Well,
Yeah.
let's get to this chair before
Oh
people
God, the
tune
humor's
out.
killing me.
So this was an interesting day for your chair. Why don't you
Yes.
explain to people what was in the seat? Speaking of now, Pam, and she had this question today. This is
We
very
spoke.
timely.
We spoke.
You did. I put her
Yes.
chair up there. Her
Well, again, we had coil springs on the bottom,
zigzags
zigzag springs. Sorry,
on the top.
on the top. And what we did was took everything off, webbed it up, and today Kevin decided that what we're gonna do is put in entire foam, so we have 4 2-inch.
We have 3 2-inch and 1 1-inch at the top.
Okay. Now we put a small, now tell everyone,
And a small one in there too, didn't we?
Right.
I forgot about
So,
that. About
okay.
a 12 by 12 inch.
now tell people why.
So we're just starting the crown,
Okay.
starting to develop the crown. But we also web the bottom, but we burlap the bottom too. Do you
Yes.
remember why we burlap the bottom, Jim?
Well, because the foam is gonna simply, would be working its way
It
through
could
after
go
years
through
of
there,
sitting. It's
right.
gonna end up coming through. It's
Right.
gonna look, it's gonna start to sag. It's gonna look
It's going to do
uneven.
like a checkerboard. It's going to actually look like a checkerboard. Sometimes it comes up where
Yes.
where it's going into the holes.
Yes.
It actually can come all the way up to the top, to the fabric.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then up here, like...
Did you do a study on that?
Well, I've seen, this is what happens when you've been around long enough and you've seen enough manufacturer mistakes. Or is it a mistake, or is it done on purpose in order for the customer?
Well, you know what it is too. They may think, oh, because they put the webbing on the bottom and it's oh so close, it's not gonna, nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
How can that get through? But
Right.
foam being as you leave a little crack for anything, and
like
it will
water.
work its way through.
It's like water. It's going to find a,
Yes,
find
it
a way
will.
to get through. So then you put 3 2-inch pieces to fill the hole up that was created when we
Yes.
took the springs out. And then the top layer is a 1-inch piece of high density foam.
Yes.
And
So
I-
we overlapped that in front. As you can see, we stapled it all in front.
And then don't forget, what else did we put in there? The edge roll, right?
Yeah, edge roll and tack tape as
That's
well.
right, to hold the third layer of 2-inch foam, right?
Yeah, so it kind of reinforced the edging a little bit,
Right,
where we
right.
substituted the edge roll.
And I feel good about that. And you know, what
I mean,
you're-
this is really an enlightening class,
Yeah.
lesson rather, because of the fact that this is all foam
Mhm.
and how you layered it, and especially again with regard to the front of it.
Mhm.
I mean, as we
Mhm.
just spoke.
Mhm.
So I mean, this is all kind of a. Now, you would not. You only went so far with that, and why?
Right.
Why? Tell me again. Why is that?
Well, it's lines, it's transition lines, and what we're going to do is instead of going all the way to the bottom, you mean,
Mhm.
we ended up, and we had enough to go to the bottom, but we didn't do that. We wanted it near the top so that we take our next layer, whether it's batting, whether it be cotton or bonded Dacron,
Okay.
that's going to come down, and
And-
the bonded Dacron can be stapled here
Okay.
and then trimmed right to here, or the cotton could be trimmed with your hand right to here. Don't
Okay.
have to staple the cotton.
So-
That's a determination about the fabric.
Okay.
So whatever fabric, if you picked a heavy upholstery fabric, you can
It's
do.
a heavier one.
So
Yes.
cotton is neat because you don't have to staple it. You could just put it on there and
And
trim it up.
it blends better.
Yeah, and then you could just throw your fabric on top of it.
Okay.
So the other thing I wanted to show you, the way my method, and you know, I'm not interested in killing you with time, you guys. You know, I don't want you to be taking too much time on these projects, because if you want to take it to the next level and you want to do this professionally, I want to set you up so that you're not, you know, spending more time and not making money. I want you to make money. But the method that we did here, even though this was a restoration, Jimmy, let's just pull this up. All the foam back here doesn't have to be anchored in any way. It can be tucked, okay? The only staple or anchoring we have is here. And you don't need to use muslin. Muslin is an overrated use in upholstery because of the crossover between slipcover people or drapery people going into the upholstery business. So they used to line everything.
Oh yeah.
And then they just took it with them.
Okay.
Lining, muslin is used in upholstery, but usually over coil springs and horsehair in order to work the horsehair with the regulator. That's it. That's about it.
Okay.
We also use it for the back of channels. Yeah, that's another.
Right.
But there's no need to put an extra layer of a fabric, meaning the muslin, on this chair.
No.
Because again, we want to try to keep these lines as crisp as possible, and you'll see that.
Well, you're
the next
overlayering. Why would you want to do that? I mean,
Right.
because that's going to just
Right.
add.
So the inclination though is to take this foam and staple everything to staple underneath to hide it, to hide the staples, to hide.
Well, I mean, some people would say that
Yeah.
because why would you want to just cut it here?
Right. But
And-
then you take away, you know, that front profile. You need to keep that front profile. If you're too, do not. A sign of a bad job is having it bulbous. You don't want that.
Right. You want some shape left
We call
over
it
to
the Karl Malden effect in upholstery. The bulbous nose. You know.
Does he know that? His estate is definitely going to know about this now.
I'm just kidding.
No, but honestly, I mean, what you're saying is about having too much
I mean, it's
Too
great
much
to say
padding.
you're having the cushion, but this, again, bringing it down the way you did halfway.
We're trying to streamline that front edge. That's why I only used a 1 inch. That's why it was layered, by the way, and I didn't tell you this. And I only used a 1 inch foam for the top layer, because if you use a 2 inch piece of foam, that's a lot more to hide, and that's going to be bulbous also. That's going
Well, that would come up further out here.
Right.
Now you've
Right.
Again-
Somebody might say, he went through a lot of trouble. Why didn't he just web the top of it and take a piece of 4 inch foam and staple the front down? Well,
But that would, there'd be no, this has some serious cushion to it.
a
the way
serious
you did it.
cushion and structure. It's got
Yes,
some
because
serious
now you
structure.
you kind of have it, it's, you know.
No, Jimmy, you would be hard pressed to figure out that wasn't coil sprung. 8
I definitely think so, because of the way
Yeah.
just the firmness
Feel
of
it,
it.
push down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have a
So
question
there
for
go.
you.
Sure.
Different style.
Live question. And for if you guys want to see the online classes and see Jimmy, go to Upholstery on Broadway, where Jimmy's the star of the online classes. And this is what.
One of the stars.
And I hope I
Wait a
didn't.
minute, back up a second.
I don't want Bernice and Michelle to feel bad.
Oh yeah, Bernice is actually. Oh boy, she's the next shooting star that we have.
Oh, wait a minute now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
In a different way. Everyone's different in their own way. No one's
All
better
right.
than anyone
Well,
else.
all right.
You feel better now?
So her and I can kind of share a little bit of the
You can
fame.
tell he played soccer, and they all got trophies of the same size. And the
Oh
same
God,
thing.
yeah, everybody
No,
gets a trophy.
no,
Yeah, you know, that's why you have the crime the way you're doing the crime. But anyway, no.
Wow. You know what? Now, Jim, you forgot what you were going to ask.
No, I still
Oh, good.
remember. I still have a memory.
Good. What was it?
So if this was a higher backed, if this was not a channel back chair, and yet you still did the 8 inches of foam,
Right.
right? Would you be concentrating also on stapling the sides and the back of the
If I have a fully upholstered chair and it's an upholstered seat
like the
this,
same setup, but it's a little, you know, there is not the sides are basically, there isn't any. It's like a dining room, say a formal.
Oh,
dining
that's different. That is different. Then you would have to, because what's locking the arms and the back in are the rails. That's
Right.
locking it in.
So let's
there.
say there's no rail.
So let's turn it. Let's turn it to show people.
Okay.
You see what's happening here is all the top layer foam especially, and even then we can just tuck that bottom layer in. That's actually held in there pretty tight.
Right.
And the reason I don't want to staple that is I need to keep this open for my other work.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the beauty of what we're doing, right? Let's
Okay.
turn it around.
Okay.
Now I remembered that we did get a couple of staples in here just to get that back down, but let's trim this
Okay.
to show people. We were very careful in not using a lot of that wood edge. Okay, so the wood edge is pretty exposed there, and then I got my whole wood edge exposed here, and then look on the front, look how nice that is. So
Yeah.
I'm keeping those edges open, and see, these are one of the subtleties of upholstery that they're not taught, and the other, I know this for a fact, they're not. I don't think other people are teaching it in this method. So the questions that you ask on the online classes go a long way to keeping people from making big mistakes at home. And the mistakes, you've made mistakes, we all do,
Right.
but if people can see these online classes and know the mistake that you made, they won't want to make it again.
Right.
Like for instance, when you're measuring, we have one slash mark up and down, one side to side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you mix those up and you're finished,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And,
okay. Now you're short 3 feet, or you're
Right.
short 5 feet.
so we take the time, and we do measure, we do take our time with the measuring, and I check the measurement.
Yes.
So if people are working alone, they might want to check, you said 3 times, that's a good idea. So
Right.
check 3 times.
Yeah, I always seem to be short, and I'd rather be given an inch or two versus taking it away.
That's
God
right.
forbid.
So Jimmy, we understand that you were in a movie, the movie that you were in, and you're a member of SAG.
No, that was the town. I don't think it won any Academy Awards.
But
I
you were
don't
in
think-
for how long? 5 minutes?
No, actually, it was about 10 seconds, and that was my cameo. I was not aware of it at the time.
You were in a movie, and you weren't even aware that you were in the movie.
No, what the setup was, they had the cameras and all the lighting and so on outside of Harvard Square at the time. And the way it was set up, I was actually working overtime and controlling the crowds. And my partner and I went, at the time, we had stepped outside because they had taken a break somewhat in the middle of the morning. So we're outside talking, and all of a sudden, when you see us in the movie, you'll see her and I outside, again, having a little bit of a conversation, and the gentleman came over to us and said, "Oh, you guys got to sign this release form." I thought, "Release form? What are you talking about?" "Oh yeah, you were in the last scene." I'm like, what?
And that made the final cut.
It did make the cut.
So tell people, what do you remember the time on that movie, The Town, where you guys?
It was. I think it was a cold morning. Actually, this was
I mean, like, was it the opening of the show?
It was the opening. So in the very
Wow.
beginning, when you see the people milling about, how they cut away for 10-second scenes, 5-second scenes, I'm in one of the 5-second scenes. So everybody thought, "Oh, you're in the movie," and my daughters were calling me up saying, in the middle of the night, at 12 o'clock at night, I'm thinking like, "My God, what the hell's going on? What happened here? Oh my God!"
They saw you in the movie.
They saw me in the movie and they said, "Oh, Dad, you got a part in the movie." And I'm thinking like,
You mean they were at the movie theater? They were having their popcorn.
Yeah, they were
out,
calling me.
their
I'm like, "What are
dates,
you
and all
doing?
of a
I
sudden
got
there's
to get
Dad
up the
up
next
there.
day for work."
The Town. That's a major motion picture.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
how has your career been since then?
stagnant.
Well, your career, you're in.
Well, you know what the sad part about it is? The woman who was in the scene with me, she says, "Oh my God, we might be able to get something out of this." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, we just stood here.
Oh, money.
Oh yeah, she thought, well, like
Oh,
mine. Oh, they might want us for different roles. I'm like, what? I said, "Oh, okay. Let me put my my retirement papers in now." And
You know what they say if the phone's not ringing?
Yeah.
That's that expression. But Jimmy,
Needless to say, yeah.
So you haven't had any roles since then, except at Upholstery on Broadway.
Yeah. And then when you guys go on, where's the residual checks for that? I mean,
The royalty
stock
checks are on
reports,
the way.
I get nothing. I mean, I'm getting no stock reports. Where's the profit sharing? The franchisee names. I mean, what's going on here?
We'll get to that someday.
Yeah, okay, thanks very much. So I basically can kind of say, happy retirement, Jim.
Don't give up your day job. Well, thank you, Jimmy, for sharing your stardom, your moment.
Yeah.
They say, what does Andy Warhol say? Your 15
anybody
minutes
having
of fame.
What's that?
Your 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, seconds, I think. I thought it was-
Seconds.
Is it 15 minutes?
Didn't Andy Warhol?
I know I haven't had any of it, so I...
Well, if anybody wants to see Jimmy in his only role in Hollywood film, it's The Town.
Yes, I
and it's
will
the
be
opening
signing
scene.
autographed copies.
So let us know if any of you go on and watch him and see if you can see him and the woman that appeared with you.
Yeah.
She has since gone on to buy Beverly Hills mansion of $12 million because her career
Really?
blossomed and skyrocketed. Whereas Jimmy's career, he ended up here with us. But that's okay.
Yeah, so if you want to send money to get me out of here, I'd be one.
And thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it, and thank you. And keep the faith, please. And thank you for letting us drift away.
Drift.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.